Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Michigan Recruiting Report. My name's Ethan McDowell. I'm a reporter for the Wolverine.com, and I am coming to you now because we just heard massive news on the recruiting trail that Michigan secured a commitment from On300 edge rusher McHale Blade. The 6'5" pass rusher from Chicago picked Michigan over Notre Dame, USC, had offers from Georgia, Oregon, schools all over the country. He's one of the most coveted pass rushers in the nation. And he picked Michigan today after a huge official visit that seemed to totally swing the momentum in his recruitment away from the Fighting Irish. We're going to talk a lot about how that recruitment kind of shifted towards Michigan, what that means for the Wolverines class. But before we do that, I want to quickly mention that if you're not already a subscriber to the Wolverine.com, now is a great time to do so. The deal has never been better, and it's never going to be a busier time to follow recruiting than right now. So I encourage you all to go to the Wolverine.com, use code UM1, that's capital U, capital M, and the number 1 at checkout, and you get 2 months on the site for only $1, and that's access to our message board, access to recruiting scoops, team intel, everything you could possibly want to do with Michigan football, basketball, or recruiting. It's all on the Wolverine.com. So again, check it out. Use code UM1 when you're purchasing a monthly subscription, and you get the best deal there is to offer to follow everything to do with Michigan this month and the next. All right, let's talk about McHale because, guys, this is a pretty significant win for Michigan on the recruiting trail. McHale's been a pretty familiar prospect for you guys. I mean, he's been a top-of-the-board guy for Michigan for the better part of a year now, and he visited twice last fall, and that's when people started to feel like, okay, sure, he's been a Notre Dame lean, or at least that's where the recruiting prediction machine, that's where the predictions were kind of drifting. They were all on Notre Dame, right? And that people were only really talking about the Irish and his recruitment. But he comes to campus twice for 2 game days, and that kind of, opens some eyes and makes people realize, all right, I think this Michigan interest is pretty legitimate. And for the next 6 months, it kind of just remained that way. He came back April 12th for a spring visit. He continued to speak very highly of Michigan, very highly of his primary recruiter, Lou Esposito. And just, it seemed like Michigan was right there with Notre Dame going into this official visit. And turns out they blew right past him on the OV. He comes to campus June 6th, and it seems like things went extremely well for the Wolverines. And clearly, he had a great time, and now he's committed shortly after that trip. So let's talk about him as a player. He's 6'5", 255 pounds, from Chicago, plays for Simeon. He's the 155 recruit in the country in the On3 industry ranking, 195 on On3's ranking. I think that's honestly probably a little low for him at this stage. There's not a ton or any that I could find junior film available on McHale. But I mean, you go look at his sophomore year highlights. He's explosive. He's just a tall, big framed defensive end, and he's extremely versatile. I think it's interesting that Michigan is still recruiting a few edge prospects in this class, and that's because McHale, you can slide him all around the defensive front. I think he could be, a 5 at the next level if you need him to be. You just have to kind of embrace the fact that he's going to show up and be the versatile type of defensive lineman that has really thrived at Michigan before. And I think he's just a really quality addition for the Wolverines. He joins Tariq Boney in this edge class as 2 really, really solid early wins for Michigan in this recruiting cycle. And yes, they're going to continue to pursue 5-star Carter Meadows, who's coming to campus for Victor's weekend, top 100 edge rusher Trenton Henderson. He visited this past weekend, and it seems like things are moving positively for him as well. So this edge class is only going to grow, and beating out Notre Dame for McHale is a huge win, just to solidify that, hey, you've got a very, very solid playmaker in this class in McHale. You have, I think, an underrated kind of great under the radar of evaluation by Esposito in Tariq Boney. And this defensive line class is off to a really strong start, folks. I think it's hard to oversell the great recruiting job that Michigan did here with McHale. Just staying on him, staying consistent, getting him on campus consistently, and showing him that Michigan was just the right fit for him. He said it started to feel like home during that official visit, and I mean, clearly it did, because he's joining the Wolverines. And guys, this is just a big news for Michigan on the trail, and kind of, I think, the turning of the tides for this 26 class. I think things are going to start rolling a little bit for the Wolverines, and we're going to start to see things start to progress back towards how they were late last year when Michigan was recruiting as good as anyone in the country. So we'll be back. EJ and I will be back on the channel to talk more about Michigan over the next few weeks. Whenever there's breaking news, come to this channel. We'll be here. But I encourage you all to go check out the Wolverine.com. Again, only $1 for 2 months if you use code UM1. Thanks, folks, and I'll talk to you guys soon.